There comes a moment in life when you are not broken, you are not failing, you are simply being redirected. A moment when doors close, people change, and plans fall apart, not to punish you, but to protect you. Many of us fight these moments. We beg for what is leaving, we chase what is slipping away, and we blame ourselves for endings that were never meant to last. But what if those endings are signs? What if your heart is being quietly told, this chapter has served its purpose? Listen carefully. When what once excited you no longer brings peace, it can be deeply confusing. You find yourself remembering how your heart used to feel alive at the thought of it, how you once woke up eager, hopeful, energized. The same place, the same goal, the same relationship once filled your chest with warmth and anticipation. But now, even when everything looks the same on the outside, something inside you feels unsettled. There is a quiet heaviness that lingers, a restlessness that does not go away no matter how much you try to revive the old feelings. You question yourself and wonder if you are being ungrateful, if you are losing motivation, or if your faith is weak, yet the truth is simpler and more profound. Peace has a language of its own, and when it slowly withdraws, it is not random. Sometimes Allah allows excitement to fade so that clarity can enter. Excitement is loud and emotional, but peace is calm and honest. When peace disappears, it exposes what excitement once covered. You may notice that what thrilled you now drains you, what inspired you now exhausts you, and what once felt meaningful now feels forced. You begin pushing yourself to feel the same joy again, replaying memories, holding on to how it used to be, but your heart no longer responds in the same way. This shift is painful because it feels like losing a part of yourself, yet in reality, it is a sign that you are no longer the same person. Growth often arrives quietly, disguised as dissatisfaction. Your heart matures, your priorities change, and your soul starts craving alignment instead of adrenaline. What once matched who you were may no longer match who you are becoming. This loss of peace is not a punishment, it is a form of guidance, gently telling you that this season has given you what it was meant to give, and remaining attached to it will only keep you stuck in a version of yourself that no longer exists. When Allah removes people or situations without explanation, it leaves the heart searching for answers that never come. There is no clear reason, no final conversation, no moment you can point to and say, this is where it ended. One day, what felt constant is suddenly absent. Messages slow down, paths separate, circumstances change, and you are left standing in the silence, replaying every interaction, wondering what you did wrong or what you failed to see. The lack of closure can feel more painful than the loss itself because the mind craves understanding, yet nothing arrives to satisfy it. In that space, doubts whisper, and the heart struggles to make peace with an ending it never agreed to. Yet not every removal is meant to be explained, because some explanations would only deepen the wound. Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes takes things away quietly to spare you from pain you could not endure or truths you were not ready to face. What disappears without warning may have carried harm you could not yet recognize, or it may have delayed you from becoming who you were meant to be. At the time it feels unfair, even cruel, but what you cannot see is how perfectly timed the removal truly is. Had it stayed longer, attachment would have grown deeper, making the separation far more painful. With time, you begin to notice changes within yourself. The space left behind starts to teach you lessons you would never have learned if everything had remained intact. You grow more self-aware, more reliant on Allah, less dependent on people whose presence once defined your stability. Slowly, you realize that what was removed was never meant to walk with you into your next chapter. Some people and situations are only meant to introduce you to a version of yourself, not remain with you forever, and their quiet exit is not a sign of abandonment, but a sign of divine protection unfolding in ways the heart may resist, but the soul understands. When staying begins to hurt more than letting go, the heart enters a silent battle between fear and truth. You remain not because you are at peace, but because leaving feels terrifying. You convince yourself that endurance is strength, and that patience means tolerating pain without complaint. Each day you stay, you carry a weight that grows heavier, yet you tell yourself it will get better if you try harder, if you give more, if you sacrifice a little more of yourself. What once felt like loyalty slowly turns into self-neglect, and you begin to lose parts of who you are just to keep something alive that is already fading. There is a deep exhaustion that comes with staying in a place that no longer nurtures you. Your heart feels constantly tense, your thoughts restless, and your prayers heavier than before. You find yourself explaining and justifying situations that leave you drained, making excuses for behavior that wounds you, and silencing your own pain to maintain stability. The fear of the unknown becomes more comfortable than the certainty of hurt, and so you choose familiarity over peace. But the soul was not created to survive in constant pain, and over time it begins to speak through sadness, anxiety, and a quiet loss of hope. Letting go feels like failure at first. It feels like giving up on something you invested in with sincerity and love. But when staying costs you your inner peace, your dignity, and your ability to breathe freely, letting go becomes an act of mercy toward yourself. It is not weakness to step away from what harms you, it is wisdom. Allah does not ask you to remain where your heart is breaking beyond repair. When the pain of staying outweighs the fear of leaving, it is often because your heart has already understood what your mind is still struggling to accept. When repeated obstacles block the same path, it is often a moment that calls for deep reflection rather than frustration. Many times we believe that persistence alone is the ultimate proof of faith, and while perseverance is noble, wisdom lies in knowing how and where to persist. You knock on a door once, twice, many times, and it remains closed. You push forward, convinced that sincerity will eventually break every barrier, yet the resistance grows stronger. In these moments, the heart feels weary, confused, even rejected, and a person may begin to question their worth or their prayers. But not every closed path is a punishment. Some are protection, quietly shielding you from harm you cannot yet see. Repeated obstacles are not random. They arrive with lessons, often asking you to pause and listen. Sometimes Allah blocks the same road again and again because your growth no longer lies there. You may be trying to revive something that has already served its purpose in your life. What you call a delay may be divine redirection, and what you perceive as loss may actually be mercy unfolding slowly. When the same wall appears repeatedly, it is an invitation to reassess intentions, purify motives, and realign the heart with trust rather than control. The soul is being trained to rely not on force, but on surrender. There are moments when effort turns into exhaustion because it is no longer supported by divine ease. Allah places ease in what is meant for you, even if it challenges you, and He places strain in what is not, even if it looks appealing. Repeated obstacles soften the heart, teaching humility, patience, and acceptance of divine wisdom. They remind you that your plan is limited, but His knowledge is complete, encompassing outcomes you cannot imagine yet. When one path remains blocked despite prayer, effort, and tears, it may be because another path is quietly opening, waiting for you to trust enough to turn toward it. When your heart is being prepared for growth through discomfort, the experience often feels unsettling and deeply personal. There is an inner unease that cannot be explained by external circumstances alone. On the surface, life may appear stable, yet inside you feel stretched, restless, and emotionally exposed. The comfort you once relied on no longer satisfies you, and familiar routines begin to feel restrictive. This discomfort is not loud or dramatic, it is subtle, persistent, and heavy, as if your heart is being gently but firmly pushed beyond the limits it once knew. You may interpret this feeling as weakness or confusion, not realizing that it is often the first sign of transformation taking place within you. Discomfort has a way of revealing what comfort hides. When the heart is preparing for growth, it becomes sensitive to what no longer aligns with its purpose. You begin to notice truths you once ignored and emotions you once buried. Conversations feel different, priorities shift, and certain attachments start to weigh on you more than before. This process can feel lonely because growth rarely happens in familiar spaces. The heart is learning to detach from what is safe in order to reach what is meaningful. In these moments, patience is tested and trust is refined as you are asked to sit with uncertainty without immediate answers. Growth through discomfort requires surrender. It is not about forcing change, but allowing change to unfold even when it feels uncomfortable. Allah uses these moments to strengthen the heart, to soften it, and to prepare it for responsibilities and blessings it is not yet ready to carry. Just as muscles grow through strain, the heart expands through trials that challenge its limits. What feels like emotional pressure is often divine preparation, shaping your character, deepening your reliance on Allah, and aligning you with a future that requires a stronger, wiser, and more grounded version of yourself. When acceptance replaces resistance, a quiet shift takes place within the heart. The constant inner struggle begins to soften, and the need to control every outcome slowly fades. You no longer wake up fighting reality or replaying the same questions in your mind, asking why things unfolded the way they did. The heart grows tired of resisting what cannot be changed, and in that exhaustion, a gentler understanding begins to form. Acceptance does not arrive suddenly, it settles gradually, like calm after a storm, bringing with it a sense of stillness that resistance never allowed. Resistance is rooted in fear and attachment, in the desire to hold on to what feels familiar even when it no longer serves you. Acceptance, on the other hand, is born from trust. It is the moment when the heart acknowledges that some outcomes are beyond its control and that not every loss is meant to be reversed. You begin to release the need for constant explanations, realizing that clarity does not always come in words. Instead, it comes through peace. The heart learns that surrendering to divine wisdom is not defeat, but relief, freeing you from the weight of constant emotional struggle. As acceptance settles in, your perspective changes. You stop measuring life by what was taken and start noticing what is being given in its place. The pain does not vanish completely, but it no longer dominates your thoughts. You carry it with grace instead of resentment. This shift allows healing to begin, not because circumstances have improved, but because your heart has found a new way to respond to them. Acceptance creates space for growth, patience, and inner strength, allowing you to move forward without bitterness, anchored in trust, and open to the unfolding of what lies ahead. In the end, understand this with clarity and calmness in your heart. Not every ending is a loss, and not every pain is a punishment. Some moments are designed to close gently so that you do not remain attached to what no longer nurtures your soul. When excitement fades, when people are removed without explanation, when staying hurts more than leaving, when paths are blocked, when discomfort stretches your heart, and when acceptance finally replaces resistance, these are not signs of failure, they are signs of transition. Every chapter in your life serves a purpose, even the ones that end before you feel ready. What you are losing may feel heavy now, but what is being prepared for you requires a lighter heart, a stronger faith, and a deeper trust. Growth often demands separation, and clarity often comes after release. Trust that nothing leaves your life unless it has already completed its role in shaping you. Place your heart in the care of the one who sees beyond what you can imagine. When a chapter closes, it is not because your story is ending, but because the next page requires a wiser, more patient, and more grounded version of you. Walk forward with trust, knowing that what is meant for you will find you, and what has passed was never meant to stay, and in that certainty, allow your heart to rest.